In the epic tapestry of ancient Greece, some names thunder through history: Achilles, Odysseus, Heracles. But there are others, less known, who shaped destinies from the shadows. Today we bring one such figure into the light: Aletes. His name means the wanderer, and his journey would forever alter the fate of Corinth. Aletes wasn't just any adventurer, he was a Heraclid, a direct descendant of Heracles, the legendary son of Zeus. This bloodline wasn't just a family boast, it was a claim to power, a divine right to rule. His father, Hippotes, linked him to a heroic legacy stretching back generations. The Heraclidae, exiled from their ancestral lands in the Peloponnese, had waited for the moment to reclaim what they believed was theirs. Now, that moment had come. Aletes was part of a sweeping movement, an invasion, not a homecoming. The Heraclidae saw Mycenae, Sparta, and Argos as their stolen inheritance. But Aletes set his sights on Corinth, a city perched on a vital land bridge, rich and powerful. Corinth controlled trade by land and sea, making it a jewel worth any risk. Taking it would be no small feat, but Aletes was driven by destiny and the stories of Heracles. He was a prince without a kingdom, a warrior with a legendary bloodline, determined to redraw the map of Greece. He wasn't lost, he knew exactly where he was going: the high, fortified walls of Corinth. His mission was clear: carve out a new kingdom for himself and his family. This is a story of ambition, conquest, and the powerful pull of ancestry. Aletes was more than a wanderer. He was a man on a mission. He would topple a throne and begin a new chapter in history. The legacy of Heracles was about to change the world again. And it all began with a wanderer's journey to Corinth. Every Greek hero's journey needs a spark of the divine, and for Aletes it came as a prophecy. The oracle's message was cryptic: he would conquer Corinth when garlands were worn not on the head, but on the legs. A riddle, not a roadmap. Aletes didn't wait for miracles. He watched, he studied, he searched for meaning in the city's daily life. Then, he saw it. The dyers of Corinth, wrapping skeins of purple wool around their legs to dry. The wool looked like garlands. This was the sign. The prophecy wasn't about fate, it was about observation, timing, and seizing opportunity. For Aletes, this was confirmation: the gods were on his side. With the riddle solved, he rallied his troops. He wasn't just a conqueror now, he was the chosen instrument of destiny. The stage was set, the prophecy had been understood, the sign given. Aletes was ready to stop wandering and start conquering. Corinth's fate would be sealed by a skein of purple wool. In ancient Greece, even the smallest detail could change the course of history. For Aletes, the oracle's riddle became the key to a kingdom. The gods had spoken, and Aletes was listening. With the oracle's riddle solved, Aletes prepared for the final assault on Corinth. The city, ruled by the Sisyphids, was a fortress atop the Corinth, nearly impregnable. A direct attack would fail. Aletes needed cunning. He waited for the day the dyers wrapped wool around their legs, then struck. Instead of a full-scale assault, he led an elite force in a surprise raid, targeting the Corinth. Control the fortress, control the city. The attack was swift and brutal, catching the defenders off guard. Chaos erupted in the streets as Aletes' warriors fought their way inside. The element of surprise, promised by the oracle, was his greatest weapon. The old order crumbled as the Heraclidae fulfilled their destiny. Aletes was no longer a wanderer, he was a conqueror inside the walls. The fall of Corinth marked a new era, signaling that the old kings were no longer safe. Aletes' victory was both military and symbolic. A new dynasty was rising. The return of the Heraclidae had begun in earnest. With Corinth breached, the Sisyphid dynasty faced extinction. Kings Doridas and Hippotes surrendered. Their reign ended in a single stroke. Aletes expelled the old royal family, erasing their legacy and securing his own power. He divided the land among his followers, ensuring loyalty and breaking old allegiances. Corinth was reorganized, its society reshaped to support the new regime. Aletes wasn't just a conqueror, he was a founder, building a new state from the ashes. The message was clear: the return of the Heraclidae was a takeover, not a negotiation. The age of the Sisyphids was over, the age of the Aletidae had begun. Aletes had claimed his prize, fulfilling the promise of his heroic ancestry. The wanderer had found his home and would make sure his family's grip on it was absolute. With the Sisyphids gone, Aletes established the Aletidae dynasty, ruling Corinth for generations. His reign lasted 38 years, transforming Corinth into a Dorian stronghold. The Aletidae ruled as kings, passing the throne from father to son. Aletes, Ixion, Agilus, Primnus and Bacchus. Their right to rule was rooted in Heracles' legacy and Aletes' conquest. Under their leadership, Corinth flourished, blending Dorian customs with local traditions. The city became a center of trade and power, its prosperity tied to the stability of the Aletidae. The dynasty's story took a turn with King Bacchus, whose success led to the rise of the Bacchiadae oligarchy. Even after the monarchy ended, Aletes' bloodline continued to rule Corinth for centuries. The founder's legacy endured, shaping the city's destiny long after his death. Aletes' name became synonymous with Corinth's rise. Aletes' ambition didn't end with Corinth. Legend links him to the fate of Athens. The oracle at Delphi warned Athens the city would never fall to the Dorians as long as King Codrus lived. For Aletes and the Heraclidae, the message was clear. To conquer Athens, Codrus had to die. The prophecy turned Codrus into the city's living shield, making his life the key to Athens' survival. Aletes now faced a new challenge. One man stood between him and the greatest prize in Greece. The power of prophecy was immense, shaping wars and destinies. The fate of Athens rested on a single life. For Aletes, another prophecy offered a path to glory. The Dorian army's mission shifted: defeat the Athenian king, and the city would fall. The stage was set for a legendary act of sacrifice. The ambitions of conquerors and the will of the gods would soon collide. The balance of power in Greece hung by a thread. King Codrus of Athens understood the prophecy's terrible weight. His life alone protected his city. Rather than hide, Codrus chose sacrifice. Disguised as a peasant, he slipped into the Dorian camp, provoking a fatal quarrel. The Dorian soldiers, unaware, killed him, fulfilling the oracle's condition. When they realized they'd slain the king, despair swept the Dorian ranks. The prophecy had been fulfilled, but not as they'd hoped. The Dorians believed Athens was now divinely protected, unconquerable. Aletes and his allies abandoned the invasion. Codrus's selfless act saved Athens, thwarting Aletes' ambition. The city was spared, not by armies, but by a king's sacrifice. The legend of Codrus became a cornerstone of Athenian pride. For Aletes, it was a lesson in the limits of ambition. Even prophecy could be outwitted by courage. Sometimes the greatest victories are won by loss. Aletes' story unfolds in the Greek Dark Ages, a time of upheaval and new beginnings. As Mycenaean palaces crumbled, new powers like Corinth rose, shaped by leaders like Aletes. He wasn't just a warlord, he was part of a cultural and political transformation. His conquest explains how Dorian-speaking peoples replaced the old Sisyphid dynasty. The legend of Aletes gives a face to this seismic shift. He bridged the gap between the lost Mycenaean world and the rise of the city-states. His actions laid the groundwork for the Greece that would later give us philosophy and democracy. Aletes stands at the dawn of a new age, a founder at the crossroads of myth and history. His legacy is woven into the very fabric of Western civilization. The wanderer became a cornerstone of a new world. Why remember Aletes after 3,000 years? Because he marks a turning point in Greek history. He was the archetypal founder king, heroic, cunning, and divinely guided. His dynasty, the Aletidae, brought stability and prosperity to Corinth, shaping its future greatness. Even after the monarchy ended, his lineage endured, spreading influence across the Mediterranean. The story of Aletes and Codrus explains the rivalry and respect between Corinth and Athens. Codrus's sacrifice became a symbol of Athenian identity. Aletes' ambition, a lesson in the limits of conquest. Aletes is a hero of the Greek Dark Ages, a wanderer who found a kingdom, a conqueror who followed prophecy. His legacy outlived him by centuries, shaping the world that followed. History is built by the ambitions of individuals like Aletes. Corinth stands as his enduring monument, a testament to the power of one man's journey.